Alright, and back at it again with chapter 12 here. I won't say it for a few seconds anyways, but we're going to hit the marker transport just to get it moving while we go and clear out boxes and stuff on this right side. There's also a power node over here. So we search in between the crane here and the boxes to find a security chest. We grab what's in that, grab the nodes in these two cabinets, and then work our way back towards where the marker's unloading. So chapter 12 here will basically be a glorified escort mission, except instead of escorting a person, like say Ashley in Resident Evil, we are escorting a giant rock. They are both of the same intelligence, so we're pretty good so far. But we're going to grab these security cabinets, and then work our way inside the room over here, where we'll have a scripted necromorph and 2 infectors. They won't activate until we do the door on the other side of the room, so I just opted to come in here and clear out all of the materials. And the premeditated malpractice doesn't matter, we just didn't pick up the log, so we didn't therefore complete it. But we open the door and then there's an infector there. There's also another one currently dropping down the stasis. But if you walk up to the door, start opening it, and then immediately walk away, you'll just trap the one infector in there. And I do grab the battery and throw it at it. Not really my intention, but it happened regardless. And I will make a note here. I've had this battery not spawn, and it didn't matter if I had saved in chapter 12 here. So I would recommend having a save back at chapter 11 before getting here. Otherwise, there can be problems with that. But once we walk out, there will be a spitter on our right. We're far enough away where we can dodge it just by walking. But we'll take that out, and this will be the last enemy before we start moving the marker. But if you need any ammo or any upgrades, now would be the time. Because if you don't get them now, we don't have a store until about 2 fights later. But I'm finally going to sell that diamond semiconductor. I see that I still have my force gun upgrade that I can use. And we're sitting on 55 grand without really much of a worry because I have plenty of health and ammo stocked up. I do still save myself a little something in case shit hits the fan inside the facility. So at this point, we're basically just going to throw everything into the force gun to get its upgrades, because we don't really have anything else. We don't have the flamethrower or anything needed. So I just kind of dump everything into damage and capacity wherever I can. But now we're sitting at a basically fully upgraded loadout for what we've got, our flamethrower, our plasma cutter, and our force gun. We also have a fully decked out rig suit, which is the highest we can get it currently. Until New Game Plus, we can't really do anything. And since I don't see myself using all of these stasis, I just end up selling a bunch of surplus materials that I've had for a while. But given that the force gun and the flamethrower ammo sell for so much, that's another reason why these guns are pretty decent. And there I just bought the remaining nodes for what I need for my force gun to fully max it. But I didn't like my plasma cutter count, so I end up getting some more. At this point, you really don't have much to worry about after the first fight in here, because we will be implementing some skips to get or chop out a few of the sections. And we still have a rate of fire on the force gun, but that doesn't really matter too much. We're essentially fully stocked. And here I just do a save because my battery was there. So now we're going to go inside the facility, and the first room that we go into has a stasis on the wall, so if you've watched the other chapters, you should automatically know what that means. Since we have the prototype stasis, we are basically going to be unkillable in that room, and nothing will get even remotely close to us on our left side because the marker will also be slowing stuff. So, given where the stasis is actually put in this room, we are not even going to be in any remote danger. So I just go in this room, grab this box really quick, go over to the right, and then a quarantine will start. And you can see our stasis on the wall here, so make sure that I'm topped off, and just be ready to absolutely start machine gunning stasis all over the place. Especially with the marker next to you, it will make it where enemies just can't do anything. So your left is mildly protected already because of the marker's influence on necromorphs slowing them, but because we have stasis right behind us, we're essentially gods in this room. Like, nothing will touch us as long as we keep spamming this stuff. So that's the basic strategy whenever you have prototype stasis. Even if you have regular stasis, this is probably the most secure location in the room. Nothing can come from around you, and your left is, like I said, kind of fortified anyways with the marker. So if you pay attention in both directions, you'll have no issues whatsoever with this room. And you can still spam regular stasis as well, because the unit will still be there. And because of the peeling mechanic of the prototype stasis, it makes it even more effective after you've hit them with a shot to try and dismember limbs. So we've about cleared up the room at this point. It's just this one last remaining guy. There's kind of like 2 waves to this room, but even still, it doesn't really matter. We don't have any worries. Once you see the lights flip back on, you're good to go. We just hit the button to lift the bridges and let the marker pass through.
Do you miss them, Isaac? Yeah. And your parents? Your mother was...
And if nobody's ever realized, you can actually see on the video call that it says error cannot confirm rig ID, which is another hint if you hadn't caught it at this point.
Would that make this easier?
But we're going to go to the far side here. We'll hit this button first to just let the marker go on its way while we're getting stuff. But we're going to go inside the room back here because it has power nodes and other stuff. We don't really need the power node at this point, but if you're going to go into New Game Plus, you might as well have it. And there is also a pustule over here that we can shoot to open the door on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and go in there and collect all the stuff. So once we've grabbed everything, we're just going to go to the next room. And of course hit the button, but the power doesn't work, so we gotta go restore that. But we're gonna have 2 guardians here. So I just opt to use the prototype stasis, and you'll see that they just melt with it. Since there's a stasis recharge on the wall, it's a good idea to use it anyways, because you can immediately refill it. Which I would recommend before leaving anyways, that way you're ready whenever you come back. Because we will have a fight in this room whenever we come back. As for this section, there's actually a way to do it without activating any of the fans to make it the safest passage possible. So we're going to do that. If you just follow certain ways, the tendrils will hold the fans in place, but you can still slip through. So instead of having to stasis the fans and have a potential of getting chopped, we're going to follow the path where we don't have to worry about the fans at all, which is a much more preferred thing on the last chapter of this game. And honestly, the first time that I was doing this, I figured there would be like a huge fight or something here. I feel like this was just a rushed area or something, because nothing happens here. It's just the weird 0G section. Like, I feel like they had ideas for something here. I've read that they had necromorphs working in 0G at one point, but removed them later, like really later, to just get rid of weird behavior and all of that. So I figured that's maybe what happened here, but they just didn't restore it and didn't have anything to fight you here. So if we shoot this particular pustule, it'll still be held up on the left there, as you can see, and then the one up above it we can also slip through, so we're going to do that. And then there will be another fan over on the left here that we can just pass through. So we don't have to take a risk at getting hit at all. We can just immediately go through. And since I'm not too worried about materials or anything, I just didn't even stop. I'm not concerned with my ammo count, and I'm not concerned with anything getting near me in this room, because we have stasis right on the wall next to us, so we can just absolutely slow everything to a crawl anyways. As you can see, I'm just spamming it left and right. This guy does grab me though. He's a bit of a sneaky one, but from there, just keep spamming it. It even works on the brute, so don't even worry about him. And of course a firewall, but then the armored guy got through, but that's why we have force gun. He can withstand the firewall, but he can't withstand the force. And this exploder actually didn't get hit in the impact of that, so he scared the hell out of me right there, but stasis saved it. It wouldn't have been a kill, but it would have hurt like a bitch. So I'm not particularly upset that we had the prototype stasis unit there too. But other than that, we got grabbed by the one sneaky guy, but the room is over with. So we can just end up pushing the button and clearing the room. As I said, since there's stasis on the wall, and since we have the prototype unit, just spam the hell out of it. There's no real reason not to. We barely even fired a shot, except for 2 firewalls and a little bit of force gun, so. The prototype unit does damage enemies as well. It does a chunk of their health. Pretty sure it's max HP percentage, because I've tested on different difficulties and every single time it took the same amount of shots, whether it be story mode or hard. And there was no difference, even though enemies scale in health. So I believe that prototype stasis does a max percent of HPs. So here we're just going to have a little bit of management. It's not really necessary per se, because we're just going to be going to these last rooms, and we already have 10 spaces free. So I kind of just opt to buy a ton of plasma cutter for the final boss and 2 extra large med kits, because why not? I mean, we're essentially free at this point. But this will be where one of our skips comes in. Since there's a tendril blocking the way that we technically can't see, it's supposed to have us go up on this catwalk, but if you have the upgraded stuff and use just... You can hit it with firewall, but you can also just use prototype stasis, which I'd recommend. You can hit it with the firewall if you aim through the railing there and the catwalk that is there. If you aim it between the railing and the catwalk, you can hit it, but prototype stasis just makes it easier. I was half expecting a guy to bust out of the vent there, but it doesn't happen. this divider also has no path to you as long as the tendril is on your right, so you don't need to worry about him either. He's literally just stuck in a limbo of pathing. He can't find you. And they can't go through vents, so it's also a non-issue. So we just kind of let him make whale noises while we slowly escort the marker out and have a staring contest. But after that's done, we just open the shutter control, and we're going to go outside and also do another skip. And there I was just messing with him a little bit. But we have to wait for the marker to get into place, and then we'll use a skip on the outside here. Normally you'd have to destroy 3 tendrils to access the next tendril in the line, but again, we have skips that we can use to just go to the last one. We can't see the last tendril, but we can still hit it. We have prototype stasis, which can hit it. We have the force gun with the damage over time gravity well, which can hit it, and we have the flamethrower, which can hit it. So we really don't have much to worry about. Also, get rid of this tentacle first before trying this. It'll just make your life easier. But we just aim in this general direction, throw out our kinesis. You don't need to worry about the tendril on the bottom. Just immediately hit it, go push the button, and we do want to watch the other tentacles that spawn whenever we do. But if you just book it down the catwalk here, you can defend yourself at the back. You don't have to worry about tentacles, and everything will come from straight ahead. And again, since we have prototype stasis, just start spamming it. Just ignore what I'm doing with the tentacles. I was just being stupid. You don't have to shoot the tentacle at all. Your main concern is just the enemies coming from ahead of you. And also, if anybody's getting near the bridge, whenever the marker's coming through, it will delay it coming, because the bridge can't lift while the enemies are there. And also, no tentacles can hit you while you're as far back as you can be on this catwalk. So you have absolutely no worries as long as you stand next to the panel. And as soon as the marker gets to the end, you don't have to finish off the necromorphs. You can literally just push the button and all of them will instantly die. I checked it after I had done this, and they will just all, at the end of the cutscene, drop dead for you to collect their stuff after you're done talking with Nicole. So you don't have to worry about them ambushing you or anything whenever you put the marker back on the pedestal. It's actually a neat little detail that I don't think was intended, where the marker silences the necromorphs on the planet. So it's actually kind of lore relevant too. Because as soon as the marker is connected, everything just drops dead. But now we're just going to have the cutscene and chat with Nicole, and afterwards the gravity tethers will start failing.
Nicole.
We're whole again. We are whole.
Emergency. Geo-orbital gravity tethers offline. Tectonic load released.
But we're going to have to go restart our tether here.
All personnel evacuate.
Not entirely sure what good that would do in the scheme of things with one tether, but who knows? I don't know how science fiction-y shit works. So we're going to open this chest first and then push the button. Because we have all the time in the world, technically.
Rerouting gravity tether controls.
Come on.
And now Kendra has kidnapped our girlfriend.
Let her go, Daniels.
Let who go? Can't you see how delusional you are?
We've got to go. The payload from the planet crack is about to fall.
I gave you a chance to come around, Isaac. But if you still won't see it, I'll help you. One last time. Rig link override. This time, watch to the end.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything.
I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing. Just had a talk. That's all this research was in the end.
And again, with completion of side quests and stuff, there can be different dialogues here. So,
I could listen when he
as
frickin'
if you do side quests, you can expect a different result than I have,
but I had a different
or
prayer.
you can expect different results depending on if you do the side quests or not. So,
And then it listened.
there is a bit of replayability in the fact like that,
Stop.
along with the AI director and choices in areas that you can make. There's not too many choices in areas, but it is still replayability if you wanted to go for that. But if you've seen the original, you should exactly know what's happening anyways.
Take it.
It's the old twist
Why
from
did you
before.
Again, Isaac. I loved you.
And also the one that everybody knows, where the chapters spell out that Nicole is dead. If you spell out the first letter of every chapter. So, though everyone at this point knows that fact, but they did keep it in this. But then it leads to the question of, who the hell is Nicole here if Nicole is dead? Which is a new one.
She's Elizabeth Cross.
Which I thought was a good connection to the original as well.
You both saw
Because you had heard about Elizabeth Cross and Jacob Temple.
her and Nicole.
So, if you remember in chapter 6, whenever she's first talking, she says, Jacob, pauses for a second and says, my Jacob? It's because she was seeing you as Jacob.
What the hell did you do?
You kind of both just substituted each other's significant other.
This whole time, you just couldn't handle it, could you? Because if she's gone,
Although Isaac does know that Nicole is dead from the beginning, technically, he just repressed it. Which is kind of odd.
load a remote.
He seems like a much more intelligent guy than that, to where I couldn't really see him repressing something like that, but who knows, he did go through a shitload of traumatic stuff in a very short amount of time. But Elizabeth Cross is dead, so
You'll never recover.
we're going to have to run out of here after Kendra's escorting the marker.
All this will be buried, just like Earth God wanted.
And we literally have no normal enemies left in the game. Now it's just a walk through a bubblegum-infested hallway. So we're just going to collect everything as we go and listen to the dolphins.
I can still make it before
Or the whales. Whatever you think hive mind sounds like. So grab anything, everything, whatever's not nailed down, and open up every container and watch it load in. Again, we don't really have much use for power nodes, but we'll take it regardless, in case you want to play on New Game. And from there, we're just going to have our last trip to the store and start our boss fight. Which, again, a lot of people say stasis has absolutely no effect. I've tested it on every difficulty, and it does indeed hurt him. In fact, it makes it where you can skip a phase of Hive Mind. It actually makes it technically mechanically safer, because then he has no acid spray phase. You can just do his phase with only tentacle slams and pod launches. So here we take our last save. Hive Mind is a pretty damn easy pushover fight. So once you hit here, I'd say you're pretty much home free except for the final grab. which still isn't that hard if you know exactly how it goes. But we're gonna have our last cutscene with Kendra here. I believe I saw a cartoon like this once. I don't think it ended like that, though. Anyways, Hive Mind fight's gonna start. We're going to be basically just moving left and right. His tentacle slams are absolutely atrociously telegraphed, so... really the only problem we'll have here is the acid and the necromorph spawns. I love that line too. But we're basically only going to have to worry about the acid spray and the necromorph spawns. Mainly just because I have trouble seeing the acid spray. The globs that it does, it makes it hard to tell where exactly it's going to land. But even then, if you get hit by it, it doesn't do a ton of damage. And the pod launches literally just keep moving. If you can run around the outside where his tentacles are, you won't get hit by it. He can't set them right next to the wall, which is his tentacle. He can't set them right next to his tentacles, so all you need to do is run along his tentacle here, and even if he shoots one right where you're at, you can stand next to the wall and not get hit. But we have plenty of materials over here on the right we can just pick up. It gave me a ton of stasis and oxygen. Not that I really need it, but hey. It'll still damage him technically. It is slower by a lot, but it does work. But every time he slams, we just take out one of the eyeballs. It's a pretty simple idea. And now we've taken out all of his face eyeballs, so he's going to enter his acid phase. And also summon necromorphs. So... it's no real trouble. I mean, we are so stacked at this point that our plasma cutter will just rip through things like butter. And we have so much ammo that we've stocked up at this point that we have absolutely no worries in the world. And nothing can come from behind you here, everything just comes from the front. So if you stay near the back of the arena, you'll see everything that's coming at you. There's no real urgency of any kind. You can use stasis on everything to slow it. It'll always come from the front. There are some exploders, but even those aren't that much of an issue. So once everything's down and gone, I elect to get rid of that pod too, just so it doesn't explode on me. But once everything's down and gone, he's going to start his acid phase, where he will start doing slams in quick succession instead of just one. But now we just shoot his chesticles. You can only do one at a time, you don't need to spray after the fact. And here I thought he was going to do the pods, because reasons. But he does an acid spray, and then does tentacles, which are still so telegraphed and easy to dodge that it doesn't matter that he just fourthed the arena. We can only stay where we're at because they're still easy to dodge. There I just launch a firewall because I kind of wanted to test if that could actually hit his chest and hit multiples, but it doesn't even hit him, so I wouldn't really recommend that. But here I got stuck on the small side of the acid spray, but even still you can see I can dodge pretty efficiently. If you move diagonally, you can still dodge it if you're sprinting at the time. So as long as you're on one side and move to the other, you can always dodge his tentacle slams. But now he's going to start hitting us with the acid spray again. And there I just have trouble with the globules, but you can see that it did basically nothing, so you don't even really have to worry about getting hit by it. There I almost got hit again because I just have trouble seeing the acid. The little globs that it shoots out are really hard for me to see. So, but even if you do get hit by it, like I said, it's a non-issue. We haven't even touched our health yet, and we've only taken about a half of a chunk. But after it does the acid spray, it'll divide the arena again and then just do the tentacle slams. And he only has one chest sack left, so we basically just have to dodge the acid again and then do the same tentacle slams and dodge and shoot the chest sack that's left. So we'll just dodge these three, and then he'll open up for the last one. Oh, sorry, he does a few more, but we'll dodge the 4 and then shoot the last chest sack. Then he decides to grab us, but here he'll steady himself after a bit. You'll see. You can try and shoot him while he's flailing all around, but eventually he just focuses in on you and then you can just blast him really quick. Right here. So he basically steadies himself for you, and it only takes 3 hits to get rid of him with the maxed out plasma cutter. So you have a lot of time. You don't really need to worry about anything. But with that, that's going to be the completion of Dead Space Impossible mode, because final boss is gone. So now we're just going to make our run to the ship and get our ending. If you've been watching the entire time, it's been a great run. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'll probably end up doing Dead Space 2 sometime soon as well, because I've recently actually done hardcore on that one, so it's also a fun run. I would consider Dead Space 2 harder than this one, just because the prototype stasis makes the game so easy, and you can also stagger enemies. You can stagger enemies in 2, but they are a lot easier to dispatch because of that, but at the same time, they also send more of them and they're a shitload more aggressive. So, we'll see about Dead Space 2 sometime soon, doing hardcore on that and giving a guide. But as for that, we're just going to let the ending finish out, and you can see that I got the finger and burnished suit at the end. And other than that, that's the end of this run. So, thank you all for watching, and have a good one.
Isaac, it's me. Oh, I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry.